This conference will now be recorded.
This is the Real Estate and Open Space Committee meeting for September the 18th, 2020. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people who may gather in one place, this meeting of the Town of Harwich Real Estate and Open Space Committee on September 18, 2020 will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for participation by members of the public and with the right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Harwich website. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We need a roll call vote. Dave?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yep.
Carol?
Yes.
Marcia? You're muted, Marcia.
Yes.
And myself is yes. Okay, old business update on 46 Indian Trail, parcel K3-2. Amy, I watched your meeting the other night. I understand that they've asked for a continuance for this case. Can you fill us in on that?
Carol is raising her hand first, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carol.
But we have to approve the minutes first.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, approval of the minutes from the meeting of August 21st, 2020. And we need to do roll call. Dave?
And someone has to make the motion and
Oh, okay.
moved by Kathy and seconded by Dave. That's
Second.
Yes, Mike.
Were these the minutes that there was a correction offered via email?
Yes, and we'll talk about how that all got confused. But we need to continue.
Pardon me, Elaine? I missed what you said.
Oh, I'm saying we just need to continue with the vote to approve unless there's a question and we want to amend it in some way.
Well, if is this the discussion time before you vote on the minutes? I guess
Yes.
my question is, if I understood, if this is the same minutes that the correction was offered over email as to management of a property, then I think there might be a correction needed to that correction. But if it's different minutes that correction was offered, then that would be a different topic.
so it's who's going to manage G1? Is that the question?
Are these the same minutes that correction was offered on? That's my question.
Yeah. I put that originally I put it was managed by HCT and that was my mistake. So I went back and corrected it and said the discussion at the meeting was that it was going to be managed by the Conservation Commission. So I corrected it to that.
Right. Okay. And I thought I saw an email from Elaine saying it was supposed to be managed by the selectmen. I know this is all very confusing, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later in another part of this meeting. But just to clarify, and Elaine, I ask if you have a similar recollection.
Yes, and Carol is correct, because the minutes have to reflect what was said at that meeting, not what occurred. So it's correct for what was recorded at the meeting.
I see. So management by the Conservation Commission.
Right.
Understood.
That's what was said at the meeting.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay. Any other discussion on these minutes? Okay. Do we still have to do a roll call vote for everything, Charlene? Yes. Okay, Dave,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Marcia.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion passed. All right. Amy, update on 46 Indian Trail map.
The other night, the applicant requested a continuance without any testimony given from the Conservation Commission until October 21st. I believe they are still working on revising a plan, trying to get it more in line with the Conservation Commission bylaw and regulations.
Okay. So that would be even after our next meeting. So this for us is a line maybe into November before anything is resolved for our. Now, did that, and when they come back on the 21st, is that going to include their bringing the site plan that I know you all had asked for?
It should. We didn't have anything new to discuss. They had their older, well, they revised once or twice, and there was a couple, the commission at the last meeting, this is what I can tell you, is at, not this past meeting, but the meeting before, the commission had brought up or requested if it was possible to move all structures outside of our 60-foot no new structure zone regulation from the wetland. And the applicant or the engineer said they thought that they could do that. And that is the plan revision we're waiting on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Elaine?
Yeah, Kathy.
So does the applicant know that, because of this delay that we wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't be able to consider an application for CPC funds until probably the following year? Like, likely?
I don't know if they're aware of that.
Yeah, I don't either. No.
That would be important for them to at least be notified of the timing of this kind of thing. That it may not be till the next CPC application, window.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. All right. I can email or let Betsy know, Bray know. Okay.
I mean, just with the timing, she may not want to pursue this avenue.
Right. I know I told her when I first spoke to her about the timing for CPC, and I told her it probably wouldn't be until next year. But, where the calendar is going and things are going, I'll talk to her again.
Yeah, because now we're talking about 2022.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, moving on. New business. There was no Harwich Affordable Housing Trust meeting yesterday. Guess it got canceled. Charlene, have they said anything to you about when their next, or Art, have they said anything about when their next meeting might be?
No.
Okay.
No, same here. I heard 2 weeks, but it wasn't definite.
Oh, okay. All right. Any members' reports? Anybody have anything they want to discuss? No? Okay. I know it's been quiet, and I almost postponed this meeting, but I didn't want to because of the discussion that we're going to have an executive session. So I have really, Art, anything you'd like to contribute or question?
No, not at this time. It's pretty straightforward.
Now, you had a housing meeting. Anything of interest to us that might have come out of that meeting?
Well, it was in the paper. I mean, the paper beat my message to the housing trust, what took place. And of course, the housing committee voted in the affirmative for the project. And but as I pointed out, between now and then, which is when the finished product comes out, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of comments. And
excuse me, Art, just for a minute. For those who haven't read the paper yet, can you say what this is in regards to?
Well, it was on the, on the Chris Wise proposal for what we call the 137, Route 137 project. Basically, it's 100 units and 23 buildings. It's about 8 acres of land. He made a good presentation. He visited a lot of people, he's talked to a lot of people, and on the sideline is a lot of action taking place already. And but I guess when the paper hit the streets yesterday morning, a few people set up and took notice, and they made some calls to the town hall and wanted to be in on the meeting. And I think they overwhelmed the potential of having a meeting. And so that perpetuated the delay of yesterday's housing trust meeting, because they anticipated a lot of people showing up to at least be there, if not voice their opinion. So, I mean, it's a good project. I think it is. It's going to be a 40B, 25, as it stands right now, 25%, which would be 25 units, will be an affordable rate, and the rest will be market rate. It's got a reasonable design, they're spread out, and it's a great location. Shopping, bus line, on and on and on. It ticks off all the blocks that possibly can have for a housing project. So I think eventually, hopefully, it'll go through. It might have a few bumps along the way, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
Way back when he presented to the Affordable Housing Trust, this is probably 6-9 months ago, there was some question as to the, with regard to the wastewater with the sewering, if there was going to be enough room for a project like that. And has that been sort of resolved?
I think that is... I really can't, I don't think I can comment on it at this point. It really hasn't been, let's put it, vetted out or, fully explored. I think the understanding, or at least I think Chris has the understanding that you'll be able to tie into the sewer system. I don't know what reality is going to be, but I think that's his understanding. So I think we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Elaine, can I just pop back to the Indian Trail thing for one quick second? Are we going to try to arrange a site visit for that location?
Well, I think it was just on hold until we see what happens with Conservation Commission. If you want, I mean, I just drove down the street and looked at at the lot. If we want to arrange that.
Well, no, isn't the understanding that she's pursuing in front of the Conservation Commission for the possibility of putting a building on there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But if that doesn't go through, she would pursue possible sale or whatever to the town. Is that correct?
That was that's what she intended when she spoke. Right.
So, I suppose it wouldn't make any difference if we did a site visit, in preparation for that.
Yeah, okay. If you
I'm just saying, before winter comes.
Oh, come on. We've trooped through snow and
That's
sleet.
true. That's true.
Yeah, whatever. Your thoughts, the rest of the committee, it's up to you. Do you want to do a site visit, Dave? You're muted.
Since we're really the secondary potential purchaser of this lot, I wouldn't go through the effort of doing that until there's a problem with it coming out of conservation that's going to prevent her from doing what she wants to do at this point.
All right.
Anyone else? Anyone else would want to do the site visit now?
Nope. Okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll just put it on hold. I mean,
Trying to come up with something to do. No, just kidding. Okay.
to fill your idle hours. I know.
Yeah, we fill my idle hours, correct.
Okay.
I can put you to use. So
All right.
So if there is nothing else, now let me get this procedure right, Charlene. Do we adjourn now and then go into executive session, or do we just take a roll call vote to go into the executive session and then adjourn after that? Dave, before, yes.
Next thing on the agenda was to do set the next meeting date.
Oh yeah, October 16th, 2020.
Yeah.
Yep. And we are booked for it. I think we don't get a lot of competition for this time of day. Good. And we have been, we are through December.
You are, oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. So Charlene?
So for moving into an executive session, and at the end of what I'm going to say, somebody can say so moved to make it easier. You would need a motion that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20A6, to consider a purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair so declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the board on property at 0 Headwaters Drive, Harwich, Mass, and not to return into regular session.
Don't move.
Seconded.
All in favor?
You got a roll call.
Marcia?
No, I was just going to say aye, but now we have to roll call. So I'm good.
Okay. All right. So you're an aye.
Aye.
Carol? Carol, you're muted.
Do that and not go back to regular session. When do we move to end the regular session?
This is ending the regular session by moving into executive session.
Oh, okay. All right, aye.
Kathy?
Hmm?
Roll call vote.
Yeah, I know you faded out there. Aye.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm old. I'm fading. Dave?
Aye.
Myself is aye. Okay, we're now in.
Jim?
Oh,
This
Jane.
conference is no longer being